Well, I haven't done this in a while, so I figured I'll do a little update on my fleet. This might be a little bit of a long video. I'm going to go over each kayak, tell you what it had or what I did to it, or what mods they have. So this here is a Hurricane Phoenix 160. It had a crack in the keel and a crack on the side, which I repaired. I mean, if you want the details on that, watch the video of my restoration. I redid all the decking, all the deck rigging, everything is new. I rejuvenated the sorry, it's drizzling, so everything's wet. I rejuvenated the hatch cover with a heat gun. If you're going to do that, set it on high heat, but be super careful. Do not stay in one spot for too long. Practice on something else before you do it. I added a Scotty rod holder to it. It's got two Scotty mounts built into it. I redid the paddle holder, put a better hook on it. It's got a rudder system in it. I've updated the rudder release. It had this little foam seat thing glued in there, and I'm thinking it's kind of like an anti-slip thing, but I went ahead and added a Voyager. It's like $100 kayak seat, $100 Carlisle paddle. I wanted to replace the hatch with one of those that has a locking mechanism on it, but because they recessed it, it has to be this hatch. I added an anchor point because I don't know, every kayak I have, I haven't put one on that one yet because the anchor points came in later. Anyway, it's got this silly drain system that has a protruding lip on it, so you always wind up with a little bit of water in here that just won't go out. Same thing down there at your feet. Nothing I can do about that. It's got the what's called a navigator rudder system, and I set it to where you turn the rudder to the right just a little bit, and then you slingshot it, pull forward, then let go. I already saw that. You bring the rudder. I put a bungee on it, so that you pull forward, let go, and the rudder will deploy. And to put it away, you just pull forward. Of course, now when you pull forward, you want to go straight so that it goes into the holder. Lock it into the cleat. No, I didn't do that very well. Anyway, so that's a Hurricane. That's about the base kayak. I think it's like $1,800. Then you got $100 seat, $100 paddle, $300 rudder system on it. Another, I don't know, $20 rod holder and an anchor trolley. Yeah, I added an anchor trolley to it. It's hanging over here on the side. Alright, now here's my Kiwi Angler pontoon kayak. This one has a lot of mods on it. This is my modified crate that stays open until you touch that spring, then it closes. We got a safety flag that's been on here for a while, so the sun is kind of beat it down. My homemade gear tracks, my homemade camera mount, my mini paddle for when you just want to move around real quick, my elevated seat. This just sits on there. It's an elevated seat. It just sits on there. Then I've also got the anchor storage. So you bring it up here to put your anchor away, put it back here to get it out of the way. This is my stakeout pole. And these are amazing. These are for hanging tools in your garage, but they're also great for holding on to rods, kayak paddles, whatever. I added rocket launchers to my recessed rod holders. There's just white dust all over it from this cover that I have on it. Every kayak should have one of these, not tied the way I have it, but this is a marker buoy. Somewhere in your kayak, on top, on the side, just somewhere loose, to where if you roll your kayak, this will fall out. Let me open it up to show you what it looks like when it's opened up. It should be in your kayak like this, just loose. So if your kayak falls, rolls or whatever, this thing will mark where all your stuff went. Because I guarantee you, if you roll your kayak, by the time you get back on your kayak, you will have drifted 15, 20, 30 feet away. And you're not going to be above where all your stuff is. I know from experience. This one also has an anchor trolley on it. What else did I do to it? It also has a Lowrance step finder, my handmade gear tracks, and handmade all these things are in a video of everything I've done to these kayaks. The handmade paddle holder. I'm updating my these are the type of hatches it has, and I'm updating them to these locking height. I saw the ones on the Hobie, I loved them, and yeah, that's what I did to it. These are my tie downs for my anchor, my kayak crate. It's got rod holders, it's got a tool caddy on the other side. I haven't added yet, but I am going to add an anchor point to this kayak. Or do I have one? No, I haven't put one on there yet. There's another tall camera mount right there with another one of my gear tracks. The anchor trolley is on a pulley system. Alright, now over here is my Ocean Kayak Trident 13. My rudder system is in the making right here. This goes on here, and it kind of operates the same way as that one does, to where when you tilt it down, it falls back, and when you pull forward, it comes up. I've got the oversized crate, and look, here's my marker buoy. I've got the oversized crate. This is just a keel, something I was thinking of, and I made it flimsy so that if you hit anything, it just bends and then comes back, because everything I make is made out of PVC. My latest video here was making this crate. I basically took a regular crate, cut the middle out of it, which is laying right there. I cut the middle out of the crate and then just zip tied it back together. Let your imagination help you make a crate. I mean, if you have a recessed area that's triangle shaped like that, find the middle, get the measurements, cut yourself a crate at an angle, and put the two ends together. Make yourself a triangle shaped crate. You know, don't let the shape of your well deter you from doing what you want to do. It's got the seat on it. I've actually added navigation lights. This is my all-around light for the back. I've got red and green lights recessed in the front. I'm going to put this, I haven't done it yet. See, I've still got all my stuff here. I'm going to put the switch. I don't like this switch, it's kind of big. I'm going to add a lighter plug and a switch to it. They're probably going to go right in here. And this is where you would mount your, I call this a sonar shield, but this is where you would mount it. And when you're ready to use it, you just flip it up. I mean, I don't know how you're going to see it with all this stuff in the way. It comes with the Canon, what do you call it? Canon rod holder, but I like these. I don't like them in here because they're kind of low. I like these because you can put them straight up when you're working on a fish. You can have a place to set your rod. It's got the locking hatch. I added my anchor trolley to it. These are temporary. I'm going to take these off and put stainless steel ones on it. Ski poles. They make wonderful stakeout poles. I mean, when are you going to get out in the water? When are you going to get out in water this deep? Yeah. I mean, if you just want to stake your kayak out and go wading, there you go. I added my anchor trolley. I did this to the extra string on it. I made a loop on it, so I can, I don't know, if I want, I could use my fish grips, clip myself to a tree branch or something, and then I made this to where it fits right on. I got this large ring that fits right over the cleat, my homemade cleat. Anchor point, like I was talking about before. I like putting anchor points on boats that are going to be used for fishing and such. Of course, I did the camo pattern, the urban camo pattern too. I like things to match. And down here we got the Hobie Kona. It's a tandem kayak. One person sits back there, one person sits up here. But it's also a single kayak, which I have it set up for. So you put your seat up here in the middle, kayak paddle holder for the back, for the front. That's about a $1,400 kayak. This one here is about also a $1,400 kayak. That's the kayak without any mods to it. And this one's got the anchor trolley, navigation lights. It's going to have a rudder system. It's got the crates. It's got the extra rod holders. So, and over here I've got the Pelican Colorado canoe. It's a 15.5-foot canoe. The seats were broken on it, so that's why I got this from the guy who had it. He had no clue how to fix it, didn't want to mess with it. So I took PVC, 3-inch PVC. I've also got a video on that, how to do a search for, or search my videos for how to fix a Pelican canoe seat. Underneath, I've got stainless steel screws holding it to the seat. Dead solid. I added the brace to the middle. It's got the paddles with it. There was this board going across the back. I took it off and I added this cutting board, big piece of cutting board on there. So you could either sit back there or use it as a cutting board, or use it as a place to mount your cameras, fish finder, whatever you want. Alright. I make a mess when I'm creating and then I don't clean up after myself. Here's the Perception Pescador 12.0. This thing was bound for the trash. Oh, actually, I need to show you this on this one. This is the back to the ocean kayak. This one had a crack that started there, came all the way up here, up to here. So I put wire mesh and sealed it, and I put wire mesh, and then I put like 1/8 to 1/4 inch thick coating of plastic on the inside. I didn't have to blend that one in so well because it's inside the kayak. There's my battery and my battery pack right there, battery holder. The crack started here and went underneath, and of course I did it with different colors of plastic to keep the urban camo look. So that was how I got a good deal on this kayak, just because it was broken. This one, back to this one, the the Perception Pescador 12.0. This is a fishing kayak. It's got my homemade gear tracks on it. I replaced all the handles on it, but I really don't like these handles that I bought because they have one single mount, and then look, where you're lifting it, the plastic is already cracking on them, so they're very poor quality. I did a search for Perception handles, and I ordered 4 of them, and they didn't work all that great. The hatch covers, this one is $100, and the little ones are like $50 each, and I wasn't going to spend $200 on some little chunks of rubber, so I made this is actually a hard cover made out of trash can lid plastic, and then I covered it with vinyl. After the sun and the snow, it got these little bubbles in it, but who cares? It's just a hatch cover. And these are it's got adjustable foot pegs, and I added a rudder system to it, complete PVC rudder system. This is a Scotty mount here. Let me show you something real quick. I need something small and made of metal. Well, I don't have any. In here is a very powerful magnet. So if you're done with the lure, you can set it up here. You don't have to worry about it falling or going anywhere. It's got the anchor trolley on it. Just a simple loop-to-loop anchor trolley. It's got the comfort seating system on it. What else? These hatches I made them myself. This one's a soft hatch because this is where you sit, and then this one is a hard hatch. Here's my anchor point, of course, added to all the kayaks. Where are we? It's got the rod holders, paddle holder. I don't like these paddle holders, but they were already on. No, they weren't on here. I take it back. I don't know. I put them on here. I just hadn't messed with changing it. This thing was stripped. It had nothing on it. All of the pad eyes were off of it. The only thing it had was this, because it's built in, and this was ripped out. So I took, in case you have a seat with a problem with it coming loose, go get you some half-inch. I think these are half-inch or 3/4 inch. It might be half-inch washers from the plumbing department. Buy a little box of them and put them back with the screws, and it holds your seat in place, and they hold a lot better than those little tiny holes that were in there. Stand-up assist rope, tow rope, docking rope, anchor rope. That's just an added feature that you should have on all fishing kayaks. Now here is why this thing was bound for trash. I guess it fell off the trailer. This is actually, it's ugly, but it's actually smooth because I've actually heated this, sanded this, and some of these gouges were just kind of deep, but they're sealed, so some of the markings wound up staying inside there. The keel had a little hole about here at an angle, so I patched it, and then I put a big keel guard back here just to protect it. There's one of my what do you call them, tool caddies. I'm going to add this to something, but I can't remember what it was I was adding it to. There it goes. There's another tool caddy right here that I made. Here's also the kayak crate. This is an anchor and the anchor storage little tackle box. This is my rudder system. It's one of those where I just made it with a spring. There's a spring on the other side. You put it down when you're going to go kayaking and use it to steer. I made it just a little shorter than the base of the kayak, so it's probably not going to hit anything. Your kayak, you'll feel your kayak rubbing before you feel this thing hit anything. Now going backwards, of course, you can hit stuff with it, but all you gotta do is go forward to fix it. So that was all the damage that was on it. It's got a estuary harmony paddle. The foot pegs are also harmony. The clips for the foot pegs, in case whoever has it decides they don't want to use the rudder system, they can take the rudder system off. The clips are right in here. I put a hard fiberglass bottom in all my crates, or I tried to. This is the Perception Pescadore 12.0. Now this is my latest project. It's raining, so we got water in them. the guy who had this completely blew out a huge hole here and down here. So I took some wire mesh and used I could have just done it right here. Take the wire mesh and shaped it to this, and you can see the wire mesh right here where I've melted it in. I melted it all the way around. You can still see here. See, the wire can still go through there. So basically what I was doing was taking small pieces of plastic, laying them in here and melting them in to where they go into the mesh. So, I mean, it would have to be a very little person that's sitting in here that's going to actually even use this one. Most of us would probably be using these over here, or just... Now this kayak here is meant for the surf. So, they call it a Perception Aloha 8.5. But it's meant for the surf, so this would be a good kayak for deploying shark baits. I mean, it's got pad eyes all over it, so you can rig something up with a quick release on it or something to where put a slip knot on here to where you're paddling, and when you get ready to release pull the slip knot, let your bait fly. I would tie a rope here, bring the bait through here, and then do a slip knot on here, and when you're ready to deploy it, just pull the slip knot, let it go, and there goes one bait, then paddle over, release another one. Shoot, you could replace, look how many baits you could release. I mean, you'd be paddling against the drag of all those rods and reels, but that's just a scratch. But yeah, this guy, he tried to fix it. Oh my God. You can watch the video of that too. It's the Aloha 8.5 restoration. I mean, there was that's tortilla. He heated it up so much that when the plastic melted and dripped through, it blew out to this side. And you can still see here, I haven't cleaned none of this yet. He used silicone, Bondo, putty. I don't know what this blue stuff is. This looks like some kind of, I don't know. He used blue plastic. He used white putty. He used, some of it looks like mortar mix. That's what some of this stuff looks. This right here is soft, so this is silicone. But yeah, I mean, this is something I've been doing as a hobby for a while, so I know how to patch these things. I mean, see this right here? That's Bondo. I mean, compared to what it looked like before, this is beautiful. And this is ugly right now because I'm just applying plastic to it. So once I get all the plastic in place, then I'll smooth it out and make it pretty. But these are, I mean, he said his kids outgrew them, but I'm thinking these will be great for deploying in kayak shark baits. And I don't know what these weird looking straps are, but I actually like what they did over here. Somebody took the time to use some paracord. It made the handles look nice on this one. So I might do the same thing to that one. I'm going to just figure out what this knot is that they use. And this one, from what I understand, doesn't have anything wrong with it. I haven't even tried to open up the hatch and look inside here. This is the first time I opened this hatch. Full of spider webs. Kind of makes you wonder, how did the spiders get in there? But it had some patches done to it down here. I'm assuming they worked. See, I don't know what that is. It's hard. But I'll clean all this up. See, I don't know what all these little black spots are. Wax or something? Or were they heated plastic and it blew up or something? I don't know. That one had the same black spots all over it. I think these used to be rental kayaks. So over here we got my big monster. This is a 20-foot Neptune. This is a sea touring kayak. I'm assuming this thing could probably hold 800 or 900 pounds of gear, and people. It's got a steerable rudder system. This only had string holding it to deploy the rudder. This is just a cutting board. I don't know what's doing laying up here. But it was handmade by Bill Miner from Tide Guide Service. He was doing he made several of these. This is one of the last ones he made. He made the handles out of rope, and they didn't seem to, the rope does not last. So this one kind of tore, so I just cut it off flush. There was one in the back that laid along here, and I cut it off flush. I was trying to clean this out to see if I could figure out some way of putting some kind of a handle that would tilt up and down, but that's a whole nother project. Here we have two Sundolphins. Trying to sell them as a set to husband and wife team, or brother and sister, whatever. Anyway, I got these. There was nothing wrong with them. They just needed some cleaning, and they've been cleaned. The seats were loose, so I went and got new screws, and I did my little washer trick on those too. They've got rod holders in them, both of them. So the guy who had them before, I don't know why, but he's put silicone on everything. I was like, how much water are you actually going to get in the kayak through these little tiny holes? So anyway, they're ready to go. One of them was missing a plug, and I had a brand new plug inside, so I replaced it. Over here we have a Pelican Persuit, this blue one. I'm trying to sell that one as a set. The blue one and this little red one down here, which you see here, it's been rubbed a few times. It was actually a yellow Pelican Burst SE. The previous owner, Pelicans have this bad thing about the scuppers. The scuppers tend to come apart. See, this part here goes down to there. The bottom one comes up and meets it. And if you're getting water in your kayak and you have no clue where it's coming from, put your thumb in here and push to one side, and you'll see that this circle moves away from the other circle. And that was the problem this had, I think, on both of them, because the previous owner had stuffed them with fiberglass, top and bottom. And anyway, he'd stuffed it with fiberglass, top and bottom. And I don't know. I have this rule: you fix plastic with plastic. So that's what those two are. And then over here I've got two whitewater kayaks. This one up here is a Dagger. Somebody thought they were going to make a fishing kayak out of it, so they put rod holders in it. You got two rod holders right there. And this one here is a New Wave Sleek. It's also a whitewater kayak. It had a hole in it. I don't know if you can see I did a patch on it over there. I've done a video where I rejuvenated the plastic on that one. Haven't done anything to this one at all. I'm probably going to remove the stupid rod holders and patch those holes. But that's a different project for something else. So I've got well, this up here is a Escape Solsa. It's a sailboat. I converted to a rowboat. I actually made a V-sail. Well, my daughter made it for me, but I designed it and my daughter made it for me. A V-sail for it to sail in the front. It had a normal sail, but none of that came with it when I bought it. So I designed my own PVC rudder system. Yes, I love making things out of PVC. So you can sit back here and steer it, or you can sit way in the front. You flip this over and slide it up to the front, and you can steer it from the front. If anything hits the rudder, it snaps loose from here and spring loads up. It'll spring up or spring down. I'm pretty proud of that design. Yeah, let's see what I've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, this down here is actually a a Mark Bassett Wind surfboard. I don't have any of the gear for the windsurfing, so I set it up as a stand-up paddleboard. Here's my stand-up paddle that I just threw mud all over the board with. Okay, we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I've got 16. I thought I had 14 kayaks. I've got 16 kayaks. I've also got an inflatable inside. So I've got 16 kayaks, a canoe, and 2 boats. And that's my fleet. So now you know everything about my kayaks. But the deal is when I first went looking for a kayak, I wound up with a little Burst SE just like that one. And I think I paid $60 for it at the flea market. So I brought it home, and I was right at the weight capacity of it. So I added outriggers to it to kind of keep my balance, and that was just too much. So then I got rid of that one. I think I sold that one for $130. Somebody offered me $130. I said I'll take it. And then my next kayak was just like that one over there. It was a sleek. So I bought that kayak, I think, for $40 at the flea market. The sleek. And it's a whitewater kayak. Of course, I didn't know nothing about kayaks, so I didn't know what it was. So I bought this whitewater kayak, and of course another one that I was right at the weight capacity. But on those, the tail end is supposed to be really close to the water so you can do your little tricks. I didn't know it was a trick kayak. My first time and only time using it, I went to the Mission, when they would open up the Mission kayak river walk thing. I went to it, launched it. I didn't have a skirt for it, so I made one out of a trash bag. Hey, it worked. So I started to go down the river, and they had these little chutes that, you know, they're made of concrete, and when you go down, you feel the little bump on your tail because you're sitting inside. And then there's a few areas where they kind of just cleared it out so that you could go through the little rapids. When I went through the first one, apparently whoever designed this kayak reach thing, they never consulted with kayakers, because I went through there and it ripped the bottom out of my kayak. I had 3 big rips from rocks that it went over. Plus the kayak was probably already worn out and old, but I had to drag my kayak back up the river, probably 2 miles. Then I traded that kayak for 2 fishing rods. I still have the fishing rods. They lasted longer than the kayak. But so anyway, when I'm looking for a kayak, people have kayaks, and it'd be like, say this is a $600 kayak, and they were asking $500 or $550 for it, and it was already used, already all scratched up, and it's like everybody that was selling kayaks, that's what they wanted. So I put an ad in Craigslist. Here's a tip: if you live somewhere else other than San Antonio, hopefully you don't do this in San Antonio because that's where I live. Put an ad out that says, if you have an old kayak, abandoned kayak, an unwanted kayak, a broken kayak, I mean, you got to know how to fix them if you buy a broken one. That's why I put my ad saying, if you have a broken kayak, I'll come pick it up. And I've got 16 kayaks, and they're all paid for. Some of the kayaks I've bought, I bought them for $30-40, fixed them up, sold them for $200 or $300. Here, let me tell you the story of this one right here. I bought this kayak here. The guy put an advertisement in the paper. This kayak has no markings whatsoever, but if you take a picture of something and slide it into Google image search, it'll find other things that look just like it and show you what it is. So that's what I did, and it came back as the Kiwi Angler pontoon kayak made in Canada. And I realized it was a $1,200 kayak. and this guy was asking $250 for this kayak, along with a Pelican. What the heck is it? It's a 10-foot Pelican kayak. It's a really popular one. I can't think of what it's called. It's not. I don't know. Anyway, this came. He wanted $250 for both, and I said, you know, I'm not really interested in the little blue Pelican. I just want the green one. I said, what do you take for that one? And he said $180. I was glad to give him $180 for it. So I drive from San Antonio all the way to the other side of New Braunfels, and he says he'll meet me at the gate. So I'm thinking, well, maybe it's an RV park or something. I get over there and it's a gated community. So here comes this kid in this white Escalade. He's probably 17, 18 years old, I guess. He's driving a white Escalade. He's got this thing stuffed in the back of it. It was just a kayak, no accessories, no nothing. So him and his buddy start to yank it out, and I'm like, oh, wait, hold on. Let me look at it. So I start feeling around it, and I'm feeling the little rough spots and scratches all over it. And I said, man, and he had already told me he was firm on the 180. And I said, man, are you really firm on the 180? And he says, give me $200 and take both of them. I said, okay, go get the other one. So he went and got the other, the Pelican, brought it out. So I gave him an extra $20 and got me a $200 kayak for it. Now what's cool about this is I took the Pelican, I rigged it up with an anchor trolley, gear tracks, I put a little mesh bag on the side of it. It was a sit-inside kayak. I rigged it up completely. I added a paddle to it, I added a life jacket to it, and I sold it for $300. So basically I got paid $80 to get this kayak. So that's how I wound up with my fishing kayak, and this thing is so stable. The seat, I didn't show you the seat, but it's a boat seat that just sits up. I made this thing out of cutting board, and it just sits on top. If I want to sit down there, I just take this out. The purpose of this was if I wanted to add a trolling motor, I could just turn sideways and operate the trolling motor. I've seen other people with the same kayak with a trolling motor on it. They're sitting down here, reaching back over their head like this to operate the trolling motor. Do you really want to do that? So I added a boat seat to it, so I can just turn, operate the trolling motor. I added all my accessories to it. The only thing I haven't added, of course, is my anchor point. So that would be the next thing if I don't sell it. You know, my custom, what do you call it? Kayak crate. Here's another thing I do: hookouts for unhooking fish. This is actually an old paint roller. I just bent the metal part straight, put a hook in it. So what you do is you catch a fish. He's hanging right. Say the fish is hanging right here, and here comes your line. You put this on the line, bring it down to the fish, pull your line over here so the fish is hanging right there like that, and then just flip the fish like this. Oh my God, I didn't realize it was uncovered and it rained. Oh, there's my cover, so it was covered. But anyway, that's a hook out for fishing. And that's my fleet. My ridiculous amount of watercraft for just me. I have not used that one. 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 I have not used any of those. Well, I've used the big one, and I've actually got a 25-pound flathead catfish I caught on that one. I've used this one a few times, but I haven't had a chance. I'm too busy restoring kayaks. Well, thanks for watching. This is my fleet, and every single one of them is for sale. This one's $750, that one's $1,200, that one's $900, the Canoe is $300, the Hurricane is, I'll take $1,200 for it. I'll take $1,200 for that one too. The big one's $2,000. The two little green ones are $225 each, or $400 for both. the blue and red one. The blue one's $225, the red one's $125 or $300 for both. The two sleek kayaks, they're probably worth about $500 each, but I'll take $500 for the pair. And these two, I don't even know if I want to sell them. Google this. There's this thing called a Craig cat. And I think the guy's original Craig cat. Whoa, that was loud. This. It's two kayaks with a platform in the middle, and he puts an outboard motor in the back. Takes that thing offshore, and that thing moves. Craig cat. Cat for catamaran. So, yeah. That's what I was actually thinking about doing with these two. Either that, or selling them as yeah, see, this says something here. It says R-E-N-T-A-L. So, this is either they were stolen from a rental place or washed away from a rental place, or the rental place got rid of them because it wasn't using them anymore. Or probably because they were so beat up. Oh, little pair of pieces. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, send me $1. Talk to y'all later.